a study came out that claims that women who are smarter, such as us, the four of us, they don't want to have kids as much as perhaps our less intellectual ladies, which is a horrible thing to say. I don't know why that just came out. But anyways, This is what the study says. And what do you guys think? I mean, how do you feel about that? It's a Daily Mail. It came out, let me just say, it's the London School of Economics. They did the study, and it says the higher a woman's IQ, the lower her desire to reproduce. So take it from there.
I'm just curious to find out how they put together these studies. Because
and how many women did they talk to?
Exactly. You could get 100 women from, one state, 100 women from one country, 100 women from someplace else, and the results would be different in every single demographic. So I don't know. I consider myself to be very smart, and I'm interested in having kids at some point in my life. So I think the study's bunk.
I have to agree with you. No, I mean, I think the other response to this was that there was some questioning about how you can accurately measure IQ in the first place, and also the professor who conducted the study also had some questionable study from a couple of years ago.
Highly questionable study, some super racist thing that he got fired for, right?
Is this the same guy who said that black women aren't attractive?
Right.
Oh, well then, I definitely.
You're like, I really disagree with this.
That was a study. What?
Well,
I've never heard of that.
And clearly, he didn't know what he was talking about.
So, but Tamar, you wrote about this. So can you fill us in, because you actually had a piece on this exact topic?
I actually wrote kind of like an op-ed first-person thing for a very brand new site called Tonight, TUENIGHT, like Tuesday night, Tonight. But it's a new site for women in their 30s and 40s, and it talks about it talks about like nostalgia and career, and like it's not focused just on family and kids. It's focused more on like women and thinking women and like issues and like fun sort of entertainment.
Like
but
Oreo
so I wrote
studies, like things like that.
What's that?
I said Oreo studies, things like that.
But anyway, so its aim is to like speak to the thinking woman and have an open dialogue. So I wrote a piece about like I'm a married woman, I'm not having children. And that like blows people's minds when I tell them that. They treat me like I'm like, oh, like I'm a convicted felon and I live in your neighborhood and I have to tell you that like because I did a bad thing. So I wrote this thing about like the silly reactions people have told me, like, oh, you'll change your mind. It's like, really, like what else do you know about me that I don't know about myself? Because you're obviously like a genie in a bottle and you like have you can see the future and, all kinds of stuff like, oh, well, what if you regret it? Just like really stupid things. And the piece really got like a huge conversation going. People I don't even know, like in my work building, and random people I haven't spoken to since I was in 6th grade, like somehow got my number and texted me, and they were just like, wow, it was really amazing to hear someone talk about that. And I was like, A, thank you. B, really? Like that, I don't know. It's apparently it is like we're in the year 2013. Time magazine just had women choosing or couples choosing to live child-free cover story a couple months ago. I actually did not think it was that big of a deal, but apparently it is a big deal to a lot of people to even admit that you don't want children and not be like judged by it.
I think it's so weird when people decide that they're going to have a judgment about what someone else decides to do with their reproductive organs. I just don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if you don't want to have kids, like, that's your business. Like, what you do with your body has no effect on my life. So I don't get it.
And also, it's, like, super inappropriate to ask mothers, like, why did you have kids? Even though, how many times have you thought about it? Like, you see someone who's a hot mess, and you're like, really? Why did you have kids?
Right. Maybe you should have thought of this.
Right, and that's my point. Like, I am thinking of it. I probably would be a hot mess mother, and people would be like, why did you have kids? I don't want to have children and then regret it. I would rather, like, regret not having them than, like, be responsible for 3 children who I, like, can't afford or don't really want. Like, why is it not okay to talk about that?
I think anytime you ask people about this subject, it's not going to go well. I mean, what if somebody asked you and it turns out you desperately wanted children and you couldn't actually have them? Or, I mean, there's so many ways that it can go. It is such a personal thing that, I mean, for somebody to tell you whatever they think you should do on the subject, have it, not have it, it's just, you got to just sit that one out. I think I've learned that.
I do love talking about it, though. You know,
but
like,
if you want to, that's fine.
Right. I didn't realize it was, like, more taboo than talking about, like, a number 2 or something. Like, people are, like, I had literally so many people. I felt like I was coming out of the closet or something. Like, not to discredit anyone, or it's like not the same thing. But it was like such a scandalous thing. People were like, I feel the same way, but I've never talked about it with anyone. It's like
you should You need to start a support group, and maybe one of us will join you. But Tamar, thank you so much for joining us for this chat. It was so much fun. First of all, seeing you, of course.
You too.
And I'll send you baby gifts anyway.